On August 18, 2025, New Delhi hosted a rare and carefully watched diplomatic exchange. Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar sat down with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The message from both sides was clear: dialogue, de-escalation, and the search for stability. Later, Wang Yi is expected to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, highlighting the weight of this moment. For two Asian giants whose shared border has been more a symbol of rivalry than harmony, even a handshake becomes a headline. As one Indian analyst quipped, every time India and China talk peace, the Himalayas listen. To understand the symbolic gravity of this meeting, one must revisit history. India and China's border tensions are not new. They stretch back more than 6 decades. The scars of the 1962 war remain unhealed, and the line of actual control, LAC, continues to be a fragile demarcation rather than a settled boundary. The memory of Galwan Valley in 2020, when 20 Indian soldiers and at least 4 Chinese soldiers lost their lives, still weighs heavily. For many, that night of violent clashes in the icy heights shattered illusions of a managed rivalry. Trust, painstakingly built over years, evaporated overnight. As a Beijing-based scholar once observed, in the Himalayas, the mountains never forget. This history makes every overture between New Delhi and Beijing not just a diplomatic exercise, but a step into a landscape of memory, suspicion, and hope. Why does this meeting matter so much? Simply put, stability in the Himalayas would transform Asia. A calmer border would lower military expenditures, unlock opportunities for trade, and allow long-neglected people-to-people ties to flourish. Imagine the possibilities: booming cross-border commerce, vibrant cultural exchanges, and more coordinated approaches to global challenges like climate change. For both nations, reducing tensions would free energy for economic development and global leadership. An Indian commentator recently wrote, "If India and China cooperate, the Asian century is possible. If they clash, the Asian century becomes a dream deferred." That is why the world watches these talks with such intensity. But let's not mistake hope for resolution. The territorial disputes remain deep and politically charged. China's claim over Arunachal Pradesh, what it calls South Tibet, and India's claim over Aksai Chin continue to block any comprehensive settlement. Military buildups along the LAC also cast a long shadow. Both nations have invested heavily in roads, airstrips, and troop deployments in the high-altitude frontier. For local villagers on both sides, the rumble of trucks carrying soldiers is more common than the laughter of traders crossing a border post. As a retired Indian general bluntly put it, "We talk peace in Delhi and Beijing, but on the ground, we dig trenches." This is the million-dollar question. Is this meeting a genuine thaw, or merely another pause in a long cycle of rivalry? The truth may lie somewhere in between. Diplomats know the art of managing differences rather than resolving them. This meeting, too, may be about preventing flare-ups rather than solving disputes. A symbolic handshake, yes, but also a pragmatic step to buy time. Yet, even pauses matter. After Galwan, India and China held dozens of rounds of talks at military and diplomatic levels. They did not solve the core disputes, but they prevented another major clash. Sometimes preventing disaster is itself an achievement. A Chinese proverb feels apt here. It takes more than one cold day for a river to freeze 3 feet deep. Likewise, it will take more than one meeting to melt decades of mistrust. It is easy to reduce this story to maps and soldiers, but at the heart of the Himalayas are people: herders, monks, traders, and families. Their lives have been disrupted for generations by barbed wire, patrols, and permits. A Tibetan herder once told a visiting journalist, "We don't care whether it's India or China. We just want peace so our yaks can graze." His simple words carry a truth that diplomats in polished suits sometimes forget. If this dialogue leads to even a small step, like opening a new border trading point, easing visa restrictions, or allowing cultural exchanges, it will mean something real to those who live in the shadows of these great mountains. Beyond the bilateral equation, the talks carry broader geopolitical weight. A stable India-China relationship could reshape Asia's balance of power. For neighbors like Nepal, Bhutan, and Myanmar, it could mean less pressure to choose sides. For Asian nations, it might encourage more collaborative regional trade. Globally, the symbolism matters too. At a time when great power rivalries dominate headlines, a thaw between India and China would send a powerful message that diplomacy can still prevail. As one Chinese academic recently told state media, if two civilizations with 2.7 billion people can manage differences peacefully, the whole world benefits. Cautious optimism is the phrase that best describes the mood after August 18th. Neither New Delhi nor Beijing is naive. They know the road to stability is long and uneven. Yet, dialogue beats silence, and handshakes beat clashes. The coming weeks will reveal whether Wang Yi's talks with Prime Minister Modi and NSA Doval produce concrete outcomes, perhaps confidence-building measures or agreements on troop withdrawals in sensitive sectors. Even if progress is slow, the fact that the world's two largest neighbors are talking is itself significant. After all, as the Chinese saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The Himalayas have been witnesses to war, skirmishes, and suspicion. But they may also yet witness a new chapter of peace and cooperation. This August meeting might not end the cycle of rivalry, but it could plant the seeds of something better. As one Indian poet once wrote, "Mountains do not move, but men can change." For the sake of Asia, and indeed the world, let us hope that change begins now. On the roof of the world, where every gesture echoes across valleys and beyond borders.